The Rams squad show is back. Our Rams are going to freezing cold Chicago. All this talk about the weather, all this talk about if our LA boys are going to be ready. Man, quit the weather talk. We're about to put up 50 in Chi-Town.
And what it do, squad? It's your boy Brock, and this is a game that the defense must travel.
Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, I'll take Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. Forget the Bears. This week, it's all about the Rams.
Whose house? Rams house. It's the Rams squad. Everything Los Angeles Rams every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Rams squad show starts now.
Yes, it does. Whose house? Rams house, baby. Whose squad? The Locked On Rams squad show, the Mob Squad, coming back at you live on a Friday evening as we are just days away from a Sunday evening in Chicago as our beloved Rams travel to Chi-Town to take on those Bears in the NFC divisional round. Of course, we have so much to talk about in this one. We'll talk about the weather, since that's apparently all anybody wants to talk about. We'll talk about the matchup for our offense against that Bears defense and why we should put up a lot of points. And of course, we'll talk about if our defense can return to its form against a red-hot offense, a red-hot quarterback in Caleb Williams and company. But before we do all of that, quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. We got the Mob Squad. We're excited. And we got the luxury, of course, always of having Big Brock in here. Have you ever played in Chicago? Or when's the last time you played in Chicago? I'm sure you played a couple times with the Lions. What's that crowd like? What's that atmosphere like? What do you think it's going to be like Sunday night? It's probably the deepest playoff run they've had in years. Like, what do you expect for that game?
Oh, man, I definitely expect the fans to be, loud, rowdy. I've played there, multiple times throughout my career. And anytime, you play them later in the season, it's cold, the defense is going. It's always a tough place to play. So, I don't think this is going to be a cakewalk or anything. Obviously, everybody knows the elephant in the room is the weather. How are the Rams going to handle that? And playing in Chicago, it has history. It also has a little history to go with it. So I think it's going to be a rowdy building, man. This, like you said earlier, this is the farthest that this team has gone in a long time. So I expect the place to be rocking. But the experience is going to overtake us as a team, as far as, us being here before. We played last year in a game where it was snowing and it was weather, and we almost pulled that one out. So I definitely got a lot of pride, I guess, in knowing that the Rams are just going to get it done. I don't know. I just feel like they're going to get it done just with the experience of this team.
Let's hope. DMAC, of course, in the building as always. And I don't know. We're going to talk about the lights being bright. I don't know if you just saw that, though, DMAC. Brock moved a little bit, and literally a light hit the chain, and suddenly it was shining. Like, Big Brock came out ready to go. DMAC, how you feeling today going into this weekend? Are you shining bright as well? I mean, look at it. You see it glistening? My goodness.
That's a sign of something good to come. I'm going to see diamonds like that on the Rams Super Bowl ring that they're going to win a couple weeks from now. So I like that. That's a nice little Easter egg there. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I think there's a lot of confidence about this Rams team. They're getting healthy at the right time. I think they got the wake-up calls at the right time. They're going up against a Bears team that defensively, we'll get into some of the numbers a little bit, but they rank towards the bottom as a run-stopping unit and a pass, the kind of what they can do against Matthew Stafford in that air attack. And look, I think that the topic of the weather, it's been a little bit overblown this week. Having said that, I mean, you look at Matthew Stafford's history, even just last year against the Detroit when he was in Detroit, and then last year when he was a Ram going into Philadelphia, throwing for over 300 yards and getting those 2 touchdowns. The bottom line is that, look, Stafford, 3 games under 40 degrees since he joined the Rams. 2 of those games threw for 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. The Rams did lose 2 of those games, and yeah, there's been some ups and downs, but the truth of the matter is the finger feels fine. The offensive line's intact. The receiving core has Devontae Adams back in a determined, healthy Puka Nacua. I think what I love about what the Rams can do in the weather is lean on a run game with Blake Corum and Kyron Williams. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit too, just kind of the style of runs. But where did Blake Corum go to college? Michigan. Where did Kyron Williams go to college? Notre Dame. Like, they didn't go to USC. They didn't go to Pepperdine or Cal or UCLA, this and that. So it's like, the truth is, it's like they're treating these Rams players as if like this is cool runnings, right? And you're getting out there, and they're, you got they're all like put it on the gear, and they're like, he's got kiss my egg and that kind of stuff. Like, this ain't cool runnings, man. Like, both teams are going to be facing the same conditions, and I just think it's overblown. Like 100 degrees, 10 degrees, Drew Brees, Rams in 5. Okay, like.
I love it. But yeah, I'm glad we just got that out of the way. Let's just like all this narrative, this weather narrative
like,
stuff.
When do we all become like AccuWeather experts too? Like, there's a 20-mile-per-hour gust wind by the end of the third quarter.
Here we go.
Like, when the game starts, we're just gonna be watching the darn football game. And yeah, if it's snowing, cool. If it's windy, cool. And like, the good thing about it is the Rams, I do think their DNA, and I don't know, Brock, like, is there's no reputation. Like, it's one thing if it's college, right? Or you grew up in those areas, but there's no like reputation, do you think, for these West Coast teams as far as like the soft factor, right? You guys all came from different colleges, grew up in different places. You just happen to play your pro ball there.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little different when you're used to playing in a state, used to playing in a stadium, or you're used to playing on the West Coast, or you used to playing in mild weather. It's something different when you get a team that's more prepared for you playing in weather of this nature. When I was in Detroit, obviously, I was playing against Green Bay a lot. We played a playoff game versus Green Bay. And you start noticing little things that the other team has that your team may not be prepared for or has. For one instance is, how all the, like, Chicago, Green Bay, they have like the little hand mitts like right into the jersey. You know what I mean? Like, right. LA doesn't have that. Why would we need that? Then also, like, they're wearing wool. They're not wearing just the Under Armour. They're wearing wool and all this other thing. So I'm not gonna say it doesn't play a part because, obviously, man, it's cold. It's gonna be cold. It's cold for everybody out there. But when you're used to it, and then you can also practice in it, say, throughout the week, I bet you 9 times out of 10, Chicago played outside, practice outside this week just to prepare themselves mentally on how cold it's going to be, how is the ball going to be handled, and, because it's going to be cold. It might be wet, a little sloppy on the field. Soldier Field is, it's a grass field, so it might get a little choppy. So you got to think about all the little scenarios, wearing the right cleats, wearing, what was this, like Vaseline on your arms and things like that we wear, to stay warm. So it's little things like that, little tricks of the trade that I think, obviously, this team is going to be prepared for. But there are things that I feel like the teams that play in this weather all the time, Buffalo is another one, that are used to, more than, this Rams team, or you get a team from like Jacksonville or something like that, are used to playing in this cold weather games.
Yeah. Like, I mean, look, here's the thing, Brock and Gavin, I totally agree. Like, if you want me to sit here and say that the Bears have that advantage, I'm fine with conceding that. Like, it's their home stadium in front of their home crowd. Like, that alone gives them a slight advantage from that standpoint. I mean, Chicago hasn't been this excited about their football team since like Rex Grossman in a long time, right? It's it's been a long time since they've been excited about their football team. But I think if the Rams were going into this with a different style of offense, where it's like, oh, they just air it out. Like, they air it out. It's all, what we do on the outside and big explosive plays. I'd be concerned. But I think that a small advantage that no one's talking about is that look, I mean, Brock talks about kind of the devil on Sean McVay's shoulder and throwing to pass it. This might be the best thing to avoid one of those miracle comeback wins from the Bears and saying, hey, no, like, because of the weather influencing the play calling just a little bit, we are going to have to commit to the run game. We're going to have to commit to 13 personnel. We're going to have those big packages and have those sets to try to say, hey, okay, we're not going for those big explosives. We're not going to pass it 3 times inside the 10-yard line or anything like that, or some of those passing issues that we saw when they lost to Detroit. So I think it has the potential, just like out of necessity, to be a positive. And I think too, that's kind of where this Rams team is at. So yeah, it's just so funny. I mean, everyone's talking about this, and like I said, it is an advantage for the Bears, but I'd rather have the road team going into a stadium where that team's familiar with that area, and they played recently cold games, which I think helps, right? But give me the better roster every single time. And I think the Rams just have the better roster, and they have enough to overcome that. Like, I think this is a team of dogs and a team of tough football players that aren't afraid to go in there. And I think that they know that there's this narrative around there saying, oh, it's the Rams from LA and the palm trees and the sun. They can't come into Chicago. I think they're out to prove. Like, I don't want to see them go full Tennessee football, like against Ohio State. Remember where they came out shirtless before the game to try to send a message? Yeah. I don't want to see them do crazy stuff like that, but maybe we don't see the sleeves, right? Maybe we kind of see them go out there and say, all right, we're ready to get down in some weather.
Yeah, you can never wear sleeves. No, never wear sleeves. As a player, like, it was like no sleeves, but you will catch me in a game, and I think it was Chicago where I wore sleeves.
He's like, there's an asterisk there. No sleeves unless you're in. I mean, yeah, they did say it's like
I'd be out there with a heated blanket, man, on second down.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 23. I think they said it's going to feel like 5 or something, like with the wind and everything. So yeah, it's going to be cold. But like you said, D-Mac, like you're hinting at, and let's jump right into it, the actual matchups and everything. Let's be honest. If this was a game played at SoFi Stadium, I think the score prediction would probably be like Rams 55, Bears 49. Like, it would be a track meet, 2 incredible offenses in perfect conditions. The reason we're talking, or everyone's talking so much about the weather, is it's the kind of largest uncertainty, the largest wild card in this game. Rams offense versus this Bears defense feels like as much of a certainty as we're going to get in these entire playoffs. The Rams are going to put up points. And as I say that, just because I said that, it's going to be 10-3 because that's how the NFL works. But just to go through some of the numbers, we know by now, Rams have the best offense in football, first in yards per game, first in points per game, averaging over 30. They've only scored, I think the lowest they've scored is 21. The Bears defense giving up a ton of points. They gave up 27 against the Packers, despite 2 missed field goals and a missed extra point. So it was really more than that, right? And despite their defense outperforming expectations against the run, they held Josh Jacobs to 55 yards on the ground, 2.9 yards a carry. Just imagine if the Packers had any sort of run game, they're scoring 35, 40 points in that game, right? It feels like everybody, even Bears fans, are going to admit the Rams are going to score probably 30 points unless there's a blizzard. The question is, what Bears offense are we going to see against what Rams defense? And that's what I want to talk about. We're going to take our break now, but when we come back, we will talk about that Rams defense, a team that's been great all year until recent weeks, against the Bears offense that, they're lightning in a bottle right now. They can't be stopped. So we'll get to that after our break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Today's show is brought to you by Gametime. Now, look, throughout the whole season, right, you're going to talk about going to sporting events, but it's the NFL playoffs, folks. The NFL, the season is more than in full swing. There's nothing like being at the game. Maybe unless it's 5 degrees, maybe I don't want to be there, but otherwise the crowd noise, the energy and cheerleading and cheering alongside other fans, watching at home is great, but being in the stadium, it hits different. But the frustrating part has always been getting tickets, waiting in queues, dealing with logins, and watching prices change right at checkout. That's why Gametime is the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing NFL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Now, look, when I was in New York, when I'm in the Bay Area trying to go to, local games, different sporting events, not the Niners, don't worry about it, I pull up the Gametime app, and it's so easy. They have zone deals where you just go to the section you want to sit in. I don't need to see 18 different seats in the section that are listed for way too much. Just show me the best price for the best seat in each section. That's the zone deals. It shows you the view from your seat before you buy. There's no surprise fees added at checkout. The price you see is the price you get. And there's nothing like knowing your tickets are backed by the Gametime guarantee. So take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today and get back to being there live. Ram Squad Show is back. We are live. Shout out to everybody leaving their comments. We'll react to some of them. It feels like we only react to the ones that are either really good or really dumb, and that's probably what's going to be the case here on this one. But like we were hinting at going into the break, let's talk about this Rams defense against this Bears offense, because we know this is a Rams offense. D-Mac predicted it in the preseason, ranking top 10 both offensively and defensively. They've done that, but in recent weeks, it's been a little different. Rams defense, couple stats, allowed 27 plus points in 5 of the last 7 games. We just gave up 30 to a Panthers offense that was averaging less than 20. The Panthers last week, when we played them in the regular season, it was a couple big plays. Last week, let's be honest, they just consistently moved the ball down the field. They were 4 for 4 in the red zone, 5 of 12 on third down. Quentin Lake, he was back, but 7 catches, allowed 83 yards on 10 targets. Kobe Durant gave up 88 yards. So we know how weak the secondary has been playing. The question is the pass rush. 45% pressure rate against Bryce Young. The question is, can they get to Caleb Williams or Big Brock? And this is what I ask you. Against the mobile quarterback like Caleb Williams, how does it change the pass rush, right? Do you focus more on containing him? Obviously, you have great ends and a great interior D-line, so you can do both. But how do you think the Rams, knowing the coaching staff, being a part of it, how do you think they're going to approach this? They're going to go all out trying to get to the quarterback, or are they going to try to contain him a little bit?
For the most part, with a quarterback like this, obviously you have your quality control, or you got your guys upstairs who are watching film on the Bears. Obviously, watching a lot of film on Caleb Williams and which way he likes to come out. As far as, does he like to escape from the pocket from the left? Does he like to escape the pocket more to the right? Which, they'll have percentages on, how well does he throw moving left? How well does he throw moving right? And then from that, we'll understand, okay, what do we want to do with this quarterback? How do we want to handle him? Do we want to collapse a pocket where you see all your 4 men up front really pressing the pocket, knocking the offensive line back into Caleb's feet and, getting off the block when he does escape? Or do you allow him to, or make him escape to his leisure light side, I guess, or the side he's worse on? Say he comes out and he rolls out to his left, and his percentages of, making throws going out to his left is, say, 30%, and on his right-hand side is 70%. Let's make rushes where we make him always go to his left. Let's create rush lanes. Let's create games to make him always flush out to his left. Or if we say, okay, if he's in the pocket and he can't see, his percentages are a lot lower completions, let's just contain him. Let's collapse the pocket. So it really depends. I haven't looked at the numbers, but it really depends on how the staff, the organization views Caleb Williams as a threat. If he's a threat moving out to his right, let's do everything in our power not to allow him to escape right. But if he's a lot lesser athlete, a lot, lesser quarterback, moving out to his left, let's do everything in our power to blitz more from his right-hand side or whatever to make him go left, to play in the percentages of, the game. So for me, it's all about how do we attack this quarterback depending on what his percentages is, left or right, or, in a pocket as far as throwing is concerned.
Yeah. I feel like, I was going to say, I just feel like it's tough with him because Caleb doesn't make sense a lot of the times, right? Like, I think I saw one comment that said, like, this dude's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league in the pocket, and out of the pocket, he's the greatest thing we've ever seen. I mean, that 4th and 10 throw was probably the best throw of the NFL season. And it's a must-have fourth down, or else your season's over. He's rolling to his left, he gets drilled, and somehow he throws it right in the perfect window, right? Like it's when he's on the run that he makes no sense. It's when he's in the pocket where he struggles. But I think you're right, Brock. At the end of the day, you probably still have to use the same logical principle of let's get this guy off his spot. D-Mac, my question, about this matchup is, I think we all know what's going to happen if the Rams are winning, right? The Bears are going to be forced to pass, and while it's worked in other matchups, it worked against the Packers. It's worked 7 times, by the way. They've trailed with 2 minutes left in the game, and they've won. That's crazy. But I think the Rams aren't going to allow that because our pass rush is going to be too good. They're without their left tackle. My question, D-Mac, is if it's not Rams ahead early and Bears throwing endlessly and Rams just letting their pass rushers, get at Caleb all game, in a neutral playing script, do you have any confidence in this Rams defense?
No doubt about it. I think the defense is going to be what ultimately is going to win this game on Sunday, because the trenches, I think, are going to determine who goes to the NFC Championship game. And I think it's a major, I wouldn't say a platform game for guys like Jared Verse and Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner and Byron Young. And really the big key, as you point out, with Caleb Williams, I mean, you're spot on. And just the anomaly that he is. I mean, one play he looks like he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, and then some plays he looks like he's a future MVP Hall of Famer. But what we do know about Caleb Williams is that if you keep him in the pocket, he's a different quarterback. He's averaging 5.5 yards per attempt when he's pressured and when he's in the pocket. And that's 29 out of 32 qualified quarterbacks. 65.9 passer rating when he's pressured. That's 28. But what makes them such a dangerous threat, and why I am reluctant to call for this big Rams blowout, just because it feels like nothing ever easy comes for the Los Angeles Rams, is just because they have that explosive play potential, and he's shown the ability to do that all season long. He's got the 4th most passing yards this season on passes, 20 or more yards. He's 4th with short passes as well. It's those intermediate throws. So if you can force him to make intermediate throws, and you limit the big explosive plays, and you wrap up and you contain on shorter passes, and then you also wrap up, and as Brock is saying, you find those tendencies when he's trying to break the pocket, when he's trying to make plays out of structure. That's where he wants to live, right? That's when he becomes USC Caleb Williams, right? You want to avoid that, and that's where it really gets tricky with him, because the truth is, you got to tip your cap. Like, there's a lot that he does where it's ugly at times, but still, he leads the NFL in big-time throws while under pressure. He's got the 2nd lowest pressure to sack rate in the NFL, meaning when you get pressure on him, he's the 2nd hardest to sack when you get pressure. So it's going to be really important for games like we've seen with Jared Verse, right? Can get pressure, use that bull rush. We say, oh, why isn't his sack total inflated? Because you got to finish the job, right? And that's kind of the biggest. You cannot let him slip out of your fingers like that. And he can be a problem. And then on top of that, we talk about this Rams running game. Well, the Bears, they're right up there when it comes to a running game as well. I mean, this is a very formidable running game. They wouldn't be in this game if it wasn't for their running game. And that's why I think that this is why the Rams win, because they're built to stop the run. And yes, you had the big run from Kenneth Walker, 58-yard run, that loss a couple weeks ago. You had the big Bijan Robinson game, but look at them return to form with Poona Ford getting healthy. You had Rico Dowdle, 1.8 yards per carry, Chuba Hubbard, 3.5 yards per carry, and the Rams really are right up there when it comes to defense against the run. And you got to give them credit. They're a really good team running the football, but I have a lot of confidence that this is going to be a game where the defense knows, hey, like, you can't step onto that football field with those weather conditions and say, oh, we're expecting it 40 plus from the Rams. I saw Alex Smith say the Rams are going to score 50. He's not going to. I'd be shocked if I saw that, right? Because they're going to try to control this football game. So yeah, they do present a major challenge, but I think that this game they have the opportunity to play to their strengths. And if the defense gets after it, as far as the pass protection for the Bears, really one of the worst in the league. This is a game where the defense can really hide the deficiencies in the secondary. And I also think, too, Quentin Lake's going to be better his second game back. I think that schematically they're going to be in a better position. But, yeah, that's going to be the game within the game, is how good or bad do you make Caleb Williams look like in this one?
Yeah, and for me, in my opinion, how good or bad Caleb Williams looks all comes down to one matchup. And for me, it's, of course, the pass rush is going to determine everything. But I think it's Q Lake versus Colson Loveland. I really do think the game comes down to that, because it's one thing to have a tight end that plays a role, right? The Rams are fortunate in that it's not that we have a stellar tight end. It's that we have a couple that are all pretty good, and we have a great scheme, right, that helps things out. There's other offenses where there's a good tight end that gets, 5-6 targets, like a Brock Bowers or something. But when you go back to this game that we just saw, Colston Loveland was getting targeted like every single play. The whole offense came down to that. 8 catches for 137 yards on 15 targets for a tight end. That's crazy. And so, yes, Q Lake, he had probably one of his worst games as a Ram last week, let's be honest. But like people were rightfully pointing out in the comment section when we were talking about it, this guy's not used to going against receivers on a regular basis, right? The Panthers had really no tight end threat. They were coming a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, which was a surprise. They were coming out in some 4 wide receiver sets, which was a surprise. In Q Lake's first game back, he doesn't have his legs fully underneath him. He's not as quick and sharp as he normally is. He's going to be a little bit quicker and sharper as is, just because he's 1 week, 1 week further removed from the injury and everything. But he's also going up against a tight end, which I think is a lot more comfortable going against in coverage. That being said, Colson Loveland is that dude. Let's be honest. There's not many tight ends that can have 29-yard catches as a tight end, that can get the job done in the red zone, but also get the job done if they throw a screen to him behind the line of scrimmage, or get the job done if he's running across the middle. So I think the matchup comes down, or the game really comes down to that. I'm not saying you got to hold him to 60 yards on 2 catches, but if it's 5 for 90 instead of another 8 for 137, I think the Rams win the ball game. Because yes, they have DJ Moore, but I feel like he's becoming more of a name than a true star at this stage. Rome Odunze has kind of been more of a name than a productive player so far in his career. I know he's just coming back. Luther Burden does scare me. And let's be honest, if they do choose to have all 4 of those guys out there on the field against this Rams secondary, they do have the advantage. Of course they do. But if they have everyone spread out like that, that's when you're able to rush the passer. I don't know about you guys, though. I think that's where it comes down to. It's Colson Loveland versus Q Lake for me. D-Mac, is there anyone else you're scared of? I know you talked about the run game, but just kind of last words on this Bears offense against the Rams defense and what it's going to look like.
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, Quentin Lake definitely is kind of the straw that stirs the drink on defense, I think, because he's kind of one of those X factors, those unsung heroes. He certainly was rusty, but you saw the Rams perform a lot better in the run game as far as the defense for it. But I think I would add also Nate Landman and Omar Spates. I think it's a game that Omar Spates and Nate Landman are going to be busy. They're going to be tired. They're going to be active, because this is what this team does. And there's so much talk about Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson in this offense, and rightfully so, but this team is built to run the football. I mean, they were top 3 in rushing attempts. They were top 5 in rushing yards per game, and that's what they're going to try to do. And we know that that's where this game's going to be won or lost. And also, too, a matchup I kind of want to highlight a little bit, too, is that, yeah, the 5th most rush attempts and 3rd most rushing yards. So that is certainly something, and DeAndre Swift and company are going to try to get after. But how about Kobe Turner versus Jonah Jackson? Jonah Jackson was an absolute bust for the Rams, but he's turned it around in Chicago. And to his credit, he's done a lot better there. And I think he's someone that in the run game, he can move defenders. And that's what I'm looking for early in the game. Is he moving guys like Kobe Turner? Because if you're winning those matchups early on, and I really have a lot of confidence that they're able to do that. So, yeah, Kobe Turner, this is a big game for you. But that's the thing. It's kind of one of those things for the Rams. This is why it's such kind of an interesting matchup to me, because it really is a strength-on-strength matchup in the trenches as far as both teams have shown the ability to run the football. But Chicago has stayed true to their running game more than the Rams have this season. So will that benefit Chicago in this one? Or is it no, the Rams running backs are fresher and their offensive line is healthy? Well, my man K-Dot all the way back, which he is expected to play. And that's kind of another thing too, is they're just kind of less on film, kind of like the threat of the Rams pass with Matthew Stafford is bigger than the threat of the pass with Caleb Williams, especially in the pocket. So that's what's going to come down to. Because look at last year. Why did the Rams not win the Super Bowl last year? I will say because they couldn't stop Jalen Hurts on big explosives breaking the pocket. They couldn't stop Saquon Barkley on big explosives. I truly believe that if you win that game, you at least get to the Super Bowl. I don't know if I'm confident they would have won the Super Bowl, but I think we all know that they would have beat Jaden Daniels and the Commanders at SoFi Stadium. So that's the big test for this team is, did they fix the run defense in the offseason? And if you do that and you can get that offense as one-dimensional as possible, Caleb Williams can make mistakes. But I will say that Bears defense, and I'm sure we'll talk about that, they know how to create turnovers. They're extremely opportunistic. And as much as we love Matthew Stafford, I mean, Matthew Stafford, fan club number 1. I am his biggest stan. He never wrote me back like Eminem wrote that dude back. But anyways, like the truth is even when Stafford's at his very best, you can see an occasional interception. You can see an occasional fumble. So then there's the finger, then there's the weather. And I'll also throw out one more thing. When I talk this much, that's how you know I'm nervous. Okay. So this is like a defense mechanism here. But I will mention one thing. Kyren Williams fumble in the fourth quarter against the Eagles. And
why are we saying that out loud? Why are we putting that into the ether, D-Mac? Why are we doing that?
I'm just saying the turnover battle is going to be huge. It truly is. I mean, the Packers won the turnover battle and they still lost. Think about that.
Yeah.
So it's I could not live with Caleb Williams beating my NFL team. I just want to throw that out there too.
Fair. One last thing too. I think we have to look at the red zone. I think the Rams, as good of a defensive team as we are, the red zone has not been the best defensively this year. And coming off of last week where you let the Panthers of all teams go 4 for 4 in the red zone versus a Bears offense that went 2 of 5 in the red zone last week. I think they threw 2 picks on 4th down in the red zone, including one at like the 4-yard line. So outside of a couple matchups, and I feel like it's a hard thing when we talk about football. It's always the same big keys. It's like, who can get ahead of the chains? Who can be more effective on 3rd down? Who can win the turnover battle? Who can do better in the red zone? Like, yes, that's just the truth in every football game, right? But if you have to narrow it down to 1 or 2, it's the red zone, right, in this one, because Bears 2 for 5 last week. Rams gave up 4 for 4. I think that's also where the game could be won or lost. But we're going to take another break.
Can I say this? My bad.
Go ahead.
No.
You played, Brock. You can always talk. You played this game.
No, the only thing that I haven't seen is like the 3rd down efficiency. And I look at this, only reason why I say this is because these games like this, especially in the playoffs, they are won with obviously great fundamentals and, executing, but it's executing on the downs that count. Like you can play great run defense, 1st and 2nd down, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8. And you give up a third and 8, and you give up, you give up a 1st down. That is just, it's like it's bad for the defense. Yeah, I couldn't say it. Detrimental to the defense. And when you consistently keep letting that happen, and that's throughout a drive, and then all of a sudden it's a 12-play drive, that wears on the team and it wears on the defense. If we can eliminate that, and like we said, if we can just keep Caleb in the pocket, crush the pockets, collapse the pocket around him, make him beat us with his arm in the pocket where he's not really good, I think it's a good shot, that we win this game. But if we allow him, we play great on 1st and 2nd down, give him 3rd down, and he gets outside the pocket and finds his guys off schedule throws and things like that, it's going to be a long game because you can't get over that because you can't really prepare for that. You can't scheme that up. This is a guy that has, a great arm, great legs, and can get out the pocket and make things happen. You can't really count for that. And I can see that being the one like little X factor that I give to the Chicago Bears that they have is they have a mobile quarterback that can get outside the pocket, off schedule throws, and just make things happen. And that's the scary thing, especially when, in the playoffs when magic starts to happen.
I agree. Like, it's like, don't let Clark Kent get into the phone booth and come out with the red cape on, right? Like
right.
Keep Caleb Williams in his business clothes, right? And I think that's kind of the thing too, because we've seen it. Like, you never know when a quarterback is going to take a big leap. And let's not forget, he was the number 1 pick and Heisman Trophy winner. In his mind, he thinks that he's going to be one of the faces of this league at one point. And this is a perfect opportunity and a perfect stage for him to show the kind of quarterback that he thinks he is, that Ben Johnson thinks he is. And yeah, I think that's absolutely it. Is Brock. I mean, I think it's that like gives me a little bit more anxiety too, is knowing that, yeah, sometimes it's like the big downs, which the Rams were successful at against the Panthers in the regular season loss of the Panthers. That's why they lost, right? It was those 4th down plays by Bryce Young. It was those big 3rd downs by Bryce Young. And those are the plays that matter. Like, who is going to win the plays that matter? Who is going to make those moments happen? And you can kind of boil a lot of these big moments, these big games down to a couple of those big plays that kind of totally change drive. So the last thing I want to see after this game is a shirtless Ben Johnson. We're close to seeing a shirtless Gavin Carlson, though. I will say that. I mean, people in the chat are talking about it, which is, black tank top, right? People out there. So
hey, I mean, everyone's coming in with the energy of the Rams
all of us are wearing black for the Bears funeral. I see that.
Go. That's what I'm
saying,
man. And everyone's talking about the Rams need to show up to Chicago with no sleeves on. I heard Brock. I came prepared. Come on now. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. We're going to take our next break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Rams offense. All this talk about the Rams defense against the Bears offense, Caleb, all that. But, oh, by the way, we got the best offensive football. We have the MVP, folks. I hope last week proved it to all of you. But we'll talk about that matchup. And, of course, we will get into our predictions both for our huge showdown and the rest of the playoffs, because why not? We'll do all that after our break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Today's show brought to you by a new sponsor, and this is a real fun one. It's Ultimate Quarterback. Now, look, guys, the draft picks, the positions are set, and so many teams are looking for their franchise QB. Ever wish to become a pro quarterback yourself? Well, get drafted by first overall by the Rams or something like that. Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate Quarterback Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of the number 1 draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. This is the number 1 quarterback career mode game on the mobile app stores, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. Sign contracts, train and upgrade yourself, build chemistry and evolve your teammates, give input to your GM on roster moves, play the actual games in 2D, and rise through the ranks to become a pro football legend. You'll deal with the ups and downs of a quarterback career, from rookie nerves to playoff drama, and every choice shapes your journey. Ultimate Quarterback is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. It's perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two on the go. Just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search for Ultimate QB in your app store. And we've got something special just for you guys. Use the promo code LOCKEDON, all caps, in the game store to get a free boost at the start of your career. Ultimate QB, football legend, QB1, it's your legacy. And today's show also brought to you by Home Chef. As the new year gets going, a lot of people are trying to simplify their routines. I know I am one of those people. I know we all are trying to do it. And dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, and packed schedules, having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. That's where Home Chef comes in. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes that actually taste great. They're rated number 1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease, and it's easy to see why. We all have busy schedules. What I love about Home Chef is meals come ready to fit your schedule. 30-minute recipes, oven-ready trays, or quick lunches. I'm not good at cooking. I'm not, all right? Yet I can execute all these with restaurant-quality dishes, and it feels like I'm Gordon Ramsay out there, right? Just cooking it up. Everything arrives pre-portioned. There's less prep, and you can save time and money because Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. So for a limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. You must be an active subscriber to receive free desserts. Ram Squad Show is back in the building with the Mob Squad. I don't know if you saw that, the Ben Johnson jabs at Matt LaFleur. I know people were asking McVay, asking Blake Corum, asking Matthew Stafford, hey, is there any added emotion with having, his brother on your staff and also, just kind of everything that Ben Johnson's been doing lately? I got to ask you guys, have we seen a head coach kind of, I don't know. I feel like when Ben Johnson was the offensive coordinator of Detroit, like obviously he's a coordinator, but you would never hear him talk. You would never see him do anything. And now in like a couple months, he's kind of got this whole new aura around him of kind of being cocky and talking a lot and taking his shirt off and all that stuff. Like, I don't know, like what are your thoughts on Ben Johnson as a coach? Brock, would you want to play for a guy like that, kind of who might say some things that might get the team in trouble with the media and whatnot?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. My years in Detroit, I was with Ben Johnson. That first year, then that second year, he got the OC job, and it was crazy because I never seen him as a leader of men, and this is not a shot at him. It's just I've seen him as the mad scientist. I kind of seen him as like the McVay before McVay got to the Rams, where he's in his lab, he's drawing up these plays, and he doesn't want to be bothered, and it's like. If somebody messes up his plays, he's pissed. Like I've seen him really livid on the sideline because a trick play or something doesn't work, the way that he thought it should work. So I didn't really see him as a leader of men, but he's surprised me just the way that he's embraced like the whole culture of Chicago, the ownership, the front office, the fan base. I just think he has this aura around him where he's fully like he went into that Aaron Rodgers black room in the cabin, lights off, and he came out like, the Bears head coach,
right.
And it's the Bears or nothing else, So he has this kind of demeanor of it's Chicago versus everybody, and I love it for him. I love it for his staff. Obviously, you see he's a player's coach, who just, demands accountability. Kind of reminds me of a McVay, kind of Eric kind of guy. So for me, man, I'm surprised at what he's doing, but I'm not shocked, because once you prove your results as far as, hey, you coming in as a coach, the team expects you to change the culture around, and you do that. The guys have nothing else to do but buy into what you're coaching, what you're preaching, and things like that. So I'm not shocked at how well they're doing. It's just I didn't see it. I didn't see Ben as a leader, man, because like you said, he didn't really say a lot. He didn't really see that emotion, and now you see it. And I love it for the team. I just don't think it'll help them for this game.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear.
That's really interesting stuff. Like, I mean, to hear Brock and kind of seeing him and how much he's evolved from when he first kind of saw him on his way up. I think that's the thing about head coaches and really good coordinators. The truth is when you become a head coach in this league, kind of get you guys' thoughts on this, you almost have to become a character. You have to like play a character and you play that character to win over your fan base, to win over your players. So as Brock said, be that leader of men. And to Ben Johnson's credit, like, how much of a character is he playing? And is he doing this just because he thinks he can kind of get into, as you point out, his lab and be that mad scientist? I mean, at North Carolina, he was a mathematics major and a computer science major. So he's kind of got that, like, that mad scientist background. But I think that he's hitting all the notes when it comes to being the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Because, like, I feel people are like, oh, what is up with him and Matt LaFleur? Did Matt LaFleur take his girl or something? Like, I mean, like, did Matt LaFleur, like, not, like, I don't know, like, what's the deal with him? Did Ben Johnson stay at Matt LaFleur's house and he let the microwave get to zero before, like, ending it? Like, I mean, like, I don't know what all this stuff is about, but the truth is, it's like, wow, cool. A guy that is trying to hate on the rival. Like, he basically is trying to portray that he hates the Packers as much as Bears fans want to think that he hates the Packers as much as he hates them. I think the bottom line is, for the Bears, you saw Caleb Williams get emotional after that win and saying how much he means to him as a player. And I don't think you've really seen that side of Caleb Williams to any of his coaches at USC. I don't think you've seen him to any of his coaches at the Bears, any of his nail technicians or anyone. Like, he doesn't really show that emotion very much. So the bottom line is, like, I think they hit a home run. Like, I really do. I think that Ben Johnson has, as far as his stock goes, I'd put him like top 5 for like the kind of the next wave of head coaches. And that, I think that, look, has he already had a successful season, though? And that's kind of where I look at the Rams. If the Rams lose on Sunday, their season has been a failure. If Ben Johnson and the Bears lose on Sunday, their season is still a success because they have their quarterback of the future. They have their head coach of the future. So I think that there's those levels of desperation kind of knowing that heading into this matchup.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Bears kind of feel like the Commanders last year a little bit, right? Where it's like they got that win against the Lions. That was like their statement playoff win. And then you kind of knew they weren't going to get the job done in the Final Four. Bears, hopefully it's around earlier and they don't get the job done here. But yeah, I totally agree. Ben Johnson, at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing with coaches now is let's get the guy who knows what he's doing X's and O's wise first. And then if he can figure things out as a leader, great. All this, like, let's get this emotional leader guy and then hope he can, just hire a good coordinator. Like, all those coaches don't seem to work out anymore. I think that's the biggest takeaway. But with all that being said, let's get briefly to the Rams offense against the Bears defense. I feel like we don't even need to waste a ton of time on it. I really, really, really hope I'm not jinxing it. But at the end of the day, this is the most clear matchup in terms of what we expect to happen in this whole game. The Bears defense is no good. Oh, by the way, it's also hurt now. TJ Edwards, probably their best linebacker, one of their best defenders, is not going to be out there. So this is a Bears defense that already just gave up 27 points against Green Bay, should have allowed way more. Jalen Johnson might be their best defender. Even he gave up 70-plus yards. Interesting thing, 7 passes of 20-plus yards last week against the Packers. Now, I know that's their game. Jordan Love likes to chuck it down the field. Don't think the Rams are going to do that as much, but it shows they can be vulnerable. The biggest thing, I'm not scared of this Bears D-line at all, whether it's rushing or passing. In terms of pass rush, tied for 22nd in sacks with just 35, 27th in pressure rate at 31.6, a bottom tier pass rush. And oh, by the way, an even worse run defense, 29th in the NFL. They allow 4.8 yards a carry. Again, I don't know what the Packers were doing, only rushing 2.9 yards a carry against this defense, but there's no way, right, Brock? There's no way the Bears stop the Rams this week, right? I mean, is it 20? Is it 30? Is it 40? I know it ain't 10. I know it ain't 14. The Rams are putting up points, right?
Man, I'm going to say this, man. Y'all love throwing those stats from the season like they really matter in this postseason, man.
The lights are bright like it's changed, guys. Come on now.
People love throwing them stats from the season thinking that they apply to the postseason. They don't apply. And I'm just saying, yes, the Bears probably were a bad defense throughout the regular season, but this is the postseason. And if they got any vets on their team that understand what this means and what this opportunity means, then they will play lights out. I see this defense showing up at home, making it rowdy. The fans are making it rowdy. And I see it being a hard game for LA to score. I see us winning, but I see it being a hard game for us to score. Obviously, we keep, beating a dead horse, but the weather is going to play a part. If it's raining, if it's slick, that is going to play a part. I don't care what anybody says. They have a grass field, so if it's slick, it's wet, they're going to have, longer cleats, studs in their cleats. Everybody's going to be tiptoeing out there. So it is going to play a little bit of a difference. I just think, obviously, the Rams' experience in the playoffs is going to take them a long way because I agree with you, D-Mac. I just think the Bears are happy to be here. Now that they got that win under their belt, I feel like they almost relaxed. It was like, we won. We made it to the playoffs. We won in the playoffs. We're good. So if they lose this game, they'll still feel like a success. If the Rams lose a game, like you said earlier, it'll feel like a failure because we just hold ourselves to that high of a standard. So for me, I just see it definitely is going to be a tough game. I don't see us scoring 50 points. I really don't. It's the playoffs. People are going to play with everything they have because they know it's a do or die. It's win or go home. So nobody wants to go home. So you're going to see guys flying around. It's going to be a tough game. I don't see a high-scoring game. That's just me. I'm going against the grain this time, but that's just me. Ultimately, Rams win, but it's not going to be a 50-point game at all.
Yeah, I think that the Rams, this matchup favors the Rams as far as, like you point out, Gavin, this is not a good pass rush. The secondary is okay. The secondary isn't terrible by any stretch. There's definitely some talent there. I think kind of the matchup you look at is Puka Nacua versus Jalen Johnson, and you got Nashawn right there. So, I mean, Nacua is going to be all over the field. They're going to use him in the slot. They're going to match him up with everyone in the secondary at some point. But I think with Nacua and Johnson, Johnson, he's a guy that, he's a ball hawk. He really is. And he's someone that can make a play. And so I think as far as where this Rams team is offensively, Matthew Stafford, if he's given time, he's going to be able to carve. And if his passing game is clicking early and you see him take a 10-point lead, a 14-point lead or something like that, then I think that you want to put your foot on the gas, but I also think that where this Bears team can climb back into this game is either turnovers or explosive plays. So how do you limit the explosive plays? Well, you try to limit possessions for the Bears. So I really do expect that if the elements are what they are, and we're, like you said, beating it to a dead horse, because that is kind of the topic. I mean, this is the all-weather bowl here, right? So I think that that's where you could see a game where it is in the 20s. I mean, it is a game where the Rams don't hit 30. I mean, a perfect world, they come out firing, they come out explosive, but even the touchdowns that they're going to get, I think, are going to be on somewhat methodical drives. And it's an NFL game, man. It's like you blink and it's like end of the first quarter. You blink and it's like halftime. And then it's like, you're like, oh man, all my fantasy football players, they got no chances. And like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I feel like with this game. And like I said, the one thing that the Rams can still win this football game if they turn the football over, but they're essentially, I think they have like an over 75% chance of winning if they don't. I mean, think about this. The Bears, 33 takeaways this season. They're 9-0 this year when they first 2 or more turnovers, but they're 3-6 when they get 1 or less. When they get no turnovers, they basically don't win football games. So that's just the truth. So that's where the Rams can kind of use that to just make sure you don't give them momentum. And I mean, you look at, Jordan Love was cooking against his team, and if Jordan Love can cook a really nice meal, Matthew Stafford is a 3-star Michelin chef, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking at in this one. Is I know Stafford saying, okay, you think that I was bad in cold weather, you think that my blood's thinned out because I moved to LA, you think that my fingers hurt, you think this and that, you think so. This is another statement win for the Rams. I truly believe that.
Hey, well, I love it. You guys you're already letting me know what I want to hear. When we come back from the break, we'll give our official predictions, both, the spread, the over-under, all that. I also want to talk about the rest of the games this weekend as well, because in my opinion, I think this is the best week of the NFL season. Some people would say maybe the conference championship week. Like, Super Bowl, cool. It doesn't feel like real football a little bit, right? It's so like glitz and glam and not really that much about the game. I feel like this weekend might be the most fun weekend of every NFL season. So we'll talk about, of course, our game and the rest of the games this weekend when we come back from our last break on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Finally, today's show brought to you by FanDuel. The divisional round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action, because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. You'll open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching, which, oh, by the way, I think the Rams have the advantage in all 4 of those. I'm just saying. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like, instead of forcing you to bet something new. And every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel.com, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Ram Squad Show is back. We are live, just like we will be live on Sunday night. I can't wait. God, I can't wait. But I can't wait for the rest of the games this weekend because, boy, oh boy, we've got some fun ones. It starts, of course, on the other side of the bracket in the AFC. Real quick, I'm curious. I'm just going to go rapid fire for these AFC games. Bills, Denver Broncos in Denver. D-Mac, who you got?
Bills are my Super Bowl pick, so I got to go with Josh Allen's Bills. And Haley Steinfeld apparently has rooted for like every team in the NFL since 2016. So I got to go with her current team, the Buffalo Bills.
What is? Wait, what are you referencing? I don't even know what you're talking about.
You didn't see that? There was people were posting her like in a Broncos gear. I guess I'm like perpetually online. I'm online too much. By the way, like Brock, like did you just like pick those necklaces up from the jeweler? Like did they get clean recently? They are glistening.
Like,
those are those playoff light bulbs you talk about.
That's what I'm saying, man.
If I just had one of those, it would fix all my problems, by the way.
No, man. I just got a nice jeweler, bro. That's it, bro. He's a perfectionist. That's it.
That is what's up. But
well,
give me the Bills.
Yeah, it's perfection. All right. D-Mac's got the Bills. Brock, who you got, Bills or Broncos in Denver?
I think the Bills got to get it done because if Josh Allen can't get it done with no Lamar, no Joe Burrow, no Patrick Mahomes, then I don't ever see him getting over this hump. So I think the Bills got to win this game.
I kind of feel like the Bills, they kind of remind me of the Bears a little bit in terms of they play all these close games and they always just seem to barely get over the hump in the fourth quarter. At least that's how it felt last week. The Denver Broncos are a better team than the Bills. Like the Broncos are supposed to win this game. They're at home, but at the same time, you got to wake me up before I see Bo Nix outplay Josh Allen in the playoff game. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the Bills get all the way to the Super Bowl because I just don't think they're a good team. I think they have one of the best players in football. I don't think they're a good team. And I think New England, well, I'll get right to it. The second game in the AFC on Sunday before our game, I think New England beats Houston. I know Houston's a popular pick right now because their defense is phenomenal. But that Steelers game kind of, the same way some people are talking about our game and they're saying, hey, it's all cute. The Bears keep coming back against all these teams, but the Packers let them stay in the game. Will the Rams let them stay in the game? We don't know. That's kind of how I feel about the Patriots and Houston here. Yes, Houston, pulled away from the Steelers, but only because it was close. I don't think it's going to be close if the Texans are scoring 3 points or 6 points. Like the Patriots are going to put some points on the board. So long story short, give me the Bills, give me the Patriots. Who you got, D-Mac, Houston or New England?
I mean, objectively speaking, certainly Drake May and that Patriots team, it was impressive what they did defensively against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. The Chargers went 3,000 miles, scored 3 points, right? But honestly, I still think that Houston defense, I mean, they could just stay in cover too. They don't have to do anything. Like they're so good and they're so sound. And it's Drake May in his first go round in the playoffs. And I just don't think that CJ Stroud, I mean, some of the throws he made were beautiful and no one will ever doubt his arm talent. But I just can't imagine that from a turnover standpoint, he's going to be as bad as he was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's going to clean up some of those turnovers. I think that the defense is incredible for Houston. And until I see a team outscore them and like put up a lot of points with ease, I'm going to take the Houston Texans. And honestly, you never root for Boston. You can never pick Boston. I hate Boston.
That's a good point. Certainly hate Boston. I think one other thing, though, if Nico Collins doesn't play, I don't know how the Texans score points, though. That's the thing.
Good point. I mean, Nico, what's his status right now? Is he like...
he didn't practice yesterday, so I don't think he's going to go. Yeah. And I think
injection, man. Always get the injections.
Shit, no, that's a concussion. He face planted on the hard ass turf. So.
It was rough. What about you, Brock? Houston or New England?
Man, I'm gonna go Houston, man. I'm a rock with the popular pick. I hope I want the defense to go out there and just shut this New England stuff down. So I'm gonna pick Houston this game.
Trust me, I'm certainly rooting for Houston. I think most people
Collins has been rolled out, so he's rolled out, suffering that concussion.
That's what I mean. I just don't like unless Houston gets a couple big plays. I don't see him putting up that many points. And yes, while Houston's defense is great, I just feel like the Patriots only need a couple big plays, right? That's what they do. They just throw a couple deep balls to Booty or Hollins, and then a couple big home runs from Travion Henderson. They're going to put up some point. I don't know. That'll be fun. I'll be watching that one closely, knowing that we all have different things there, or at least I do with y'all. Of course, the other one that means a lot for us. Niners, Seahawks, all NFC West. We know these two teams very, very well. In Seattle, I haven't looked at the weather, I'll be honest, because all I've been looking at is the weather for our game. But Brock, we'll start with you. Do the Niners get revenge after the Week 18 loss? Week 17 or Week 18, I don't even know. But whatever week it was where the Niners could not win at home, do they suddenly go to Seattle as a big underdog and beat the Seahawks?
I don't see it, man. I think that Seattle defense is just running right now. So if they continue to play at the level that they've been playing at all season in Seattle, the 12th man, I don't see the 49ers leaving that place with a victory. So for me, yeah, I'm definitely giving a nod to the Seattle Seahawks in that one.
That's a tough one too. As Brock pointed out, that's a team at home. That's a team that earned the bye. That's a team that is ready to go on that run. You do have Sam Darnold though. And I think too, look, man, Kyle Shanahan, like he's a major difference maker. You can give him, you can go drive down the street. You can just go get a bunch of dudes and put them on a field and they're going to have a chance. Right. And like, doesn't matter who's in the lineup, they're going to compete. And I am trying to will a home playoff game because nothing would make me happier. Nothing would make me laugh harder than the Rams beating the San Francisco 49ers again in the NFC Championship game. And it's bang, bang, escalator gang all over again for a chance to go to the Super Bowl in San Francisco. Like that would be the most satisfying NFC Championship game. So just for the sake of willing that, I'm going to pick the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I'll ask you, Brock.
I almost threw up in my mouth, by the way.
That's how I felt when I was rooting for him just last week, right? And it happened, right? We got the matchup we wanted because of it. I'm curious, Brock, you've got Seattle winning, but would you prefer to play, I guess that implies you'd prefer to play the Niners next week if the Rams were to make it?
No, I don't think it really matters, man. I think the Rams know these two teams very well. We've seen them play in Seattle and pretty much dog Seattle in Seattle. Just didn't come up with the victory. So I'm not scared either way as far as playing either one of the two teams. So it don't matter to me, man. Whoever.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm about to say this. I feel a little like 1% bad for the Niners, just like 1%. I know, just 1%, because it really does feel like this is a team that if they were healthy, I think they beat Seattle. I do. I think, Purdy is not one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but I think he's better than Sam Darnold. I'm taking Shanahan, play calling over just about everyone other than Sean McVay. And the one thing with Shanahan, he's going to have 2 to 3 trick plays or brilliant play calls that steal some points, right? In the game last week, it was that unreal, handoff, end around, Juwan Johnson throw to McCaffrey in the end zone. That was beautiful, right? In the Super Bowl, it was the McCaffrey throw? I forget. One of the Super Bowls they lost. I don't even know, right? But he's going to have 1 or 2. The question is that a touchdown to cut a 20-3 deficit, or is that a touchdown when they're already in a 10-10 ball game and that trick play gives them the lead? I don't think so, though. I think that they're just too banged up. No Kittle now, so the run game is going to be worse. Give me Seattle, but I do feel like if these teams were healthy, I think I might pick the Niners to win it. With all that being said, let's get to our game now. If we're all right in that Seattle wins, it means we would go face Seattle if we get the job done. Do we get the job done? I mean, the cat's out of the bag. You guys have already hinted at it, but one last comment from each of you on your prediction. In case you're wondering, I know Big Brock doesn't give a dang, but Rams favored by 4.5. The over-under 48.5. We'll start with Brock. I think you said the Rams win, but by how much and why?
I am going to put this game, I'm not going to have a high-scoring game. I'm going to say 21-17 Rams, get it done. It's a playoff game. I think each scoring drive is going to be a long drive, 12-play, 13-play, 14-play drive, where we just stay ahead of the sticks and just wear on this team, because we're going to have to play very sound football on our end, no turnovers, and we're going to have to stop the run, and we're going to have to do a great job keeping Caleb Williams in the pocket, because if we allow him to escape and make plays down the field, which allows them to continue to stay ahead of the change and keep that clock moving and play the way that we know that that's our kryptonite. If people play that slow game with us, that's our kryptonite. So we can just get ahead, put them in bad situations where we can, go out there and just pin our ears back and get after them. I think we win this game for sure.
D-Mac?
Yeah, I'm going the Chicago Bears to lose 28-20, right? I think that the Rams win this one, and I think the reasons why: experience, better coaching, Sean McVay better than Ben Johnson, Matthew Stafford is better than Caleb Williams. But I think the number one thing for me is I think we're going to be talking a lot about the performance of the Rams defensive line. I think we're going to have a Jared Verse moment, a Byron Young moment, a Braden Fitz, a Kobe Turner moment. I think the defensive line is going to impact the game. That's going to mask some of the deficiencies of the secondary. They're going to be able to at least be good to potentially great against the run. And I think by doing that, you are going to at least limit some of those flash plays by Caleb Williams. Maybe we could see a turnover here and there, but as long as you give me a locked-in, turnover-free offense from Matthew Stafford, and you give me a defense that they know they got to get after it, and they got to all gas, no brakes towards Caleb Williams. I think this is a big game that's won in the trenches, a nasty win by that defensive line. I think that's where the game is won. So I got the Rams win, but I'm with Brock too, though. I mean, like, it's tough for me to predict a blowout. Like, I could see them maybe go up like 2 scores and really kind of pull away if Caleb Williams is not having his best game, or they can cause a fumble, and we'll see how the weather. I mean, might as well throw it in there one more time in this episode about the weather. But I do think that there's going to be some control, and then maybe you see the Bears try to mount one of those incredible comebacks, but this time it'll fall short. Because one thing I do know is the thing about the Bears is they win all these games that you think they're supposed to lose, and they lose them, and they win them in the most wildest, dramatic ways. The Rams, they lose all these games that you think they're supposed to win, and they lose them in the most dramatic, wildest ways, right? So that's where Brock's score, it scares the crap out of me, because the closer this gets, then, hey, we didn't really even talk about Harrison Mevis and the special team operation, and do you have to make some kicks in the snow, make some kicks in the cold weather, make some kicks in the gusty wind, right? You got to score touchdowns. I see right there. So yeah, I still got the Rams win this one, and I like the whole hey, anytime, anywhere mentality for the next round. I think if you win this game, I think you're going to the Super Bowl, and I think this is a wild card type of game just because of the weather factor. But I think you get through this one, it gets to a point where like, hey, we made it too far just to get this far. That's why like this is kind of the hump game for me for the playoff run, especially when you're playing a wild card round. Like if you get past that division round and it's just one to get to the one, then it's like, all right, let's go. Like you're not passing up that opportunity, especially with a Rams team that's championship window. This could be it. Like it could. It maybe next year tops, right? So I think that's a factor as well. That urgency, I think, is going to play a factor in this team wanting to win.
You bring up Harrison Mevis.
The thicker kicker with 50 Cs.
Rams 28, Bears 21. Caleb's got the ball. They march down the field so they can tie the game, and Iceman can... Nope, they don't even tie the game. Harrison Mevis makes a nice field goal to make it 31-21. It's not a field goal to win the game. No, it's 31-21 Rams. If you said this was going to be the matchup in the playoffs 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago when the Rams are the undisputed best team in football, you would say the Rams are going to win this game by 10 points. Guess what's happened in the week since then? Kevin Dotson was out. Quentin Lake was out. They're back. And guess what's happened to the Bears since then? Their left tackle's out. They're maybe best linebackers out. The Rams are healthier, they're more experienced, and they're just better. Man, that's too many factors to go against. Give me the Rams 31-21. Even if Iceman comes through late and ties the game. I mean, it happened last week. Oh, Bryce Young surprised some people. He came back, he tied the game. Guess what? When the Rams fell behind, man, we got an Iceman too, but we got a better Iceman.
Is that a thing? Like, bro, do you know about this? They're calling him Iceman, Caleb Williams.
Oh, yeah, that's his whole thing now.
I'm like perpetually. I've never seen the Iceman thing.
I've never seen the Iceman thing.
You're too busy looking at Haley Seinfeld and not.
Wow, finally I catch one. Okay, yeah, now I'm blushing. End the stream.
But yeah, no, they're calling him the Iceman now, and it's hard. It's a little hard. I'll get it, but Just like the same way, the Iceman that is Drake, because I don't know if you know that's his nickname too, or that's his upcoming album. The Iceman lost to the LA Man and K. Dot. This Iceman is going to lose to the LA Man and the LA Rams and Matthew Stafford. So give me the Rams 31-21. Let's not make it come down to the thicker kicker. Let's just handle business. All right. But we'll be here. This is the place to be, live right after the game, win or lose. Good thing it won't be a loss. After the win, after the 31-21 win, we'll be here. Sunday Night Football. Buckle up. It's going to be a great game. I guess it's not technically Sunday Night Football. What's even the official kickoff? I don't even know. It's 3:30. 3:30. So Sunday afternoon football. We'll be here live. Make sure you have those post noties on, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like and comment on this one. As he says here, it's the Rams MFing house. Let's go LA all day. McVay is the Iceman. McVay's the Iceman. We gonna get the
Stafford's the soul snatcher, right?
There you go. Exactly.
Come on, the soul snatcher.
Hard. Right? There you go. And no, kickoff is not at 5:30. It's 5:30 wherever you live, buddy. It's 3:30 in LA, where it matters. Rams win. We'll be here live. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you Sunday night. Whose house? Rams house. Whose squad? Locked on Rams Squad show with the Mob Squad. Signing off. Go Rams. We'll see you Sunday.